Our main responsibility at the Children's Advocacy Center is to interview children for investigators, whether they're CPS or law enforcement, but we don't take all types of cases. We take cases where there's allegations of sexual abuse, and that comprises about 90% of the interviews that we do. And then we also take cases where children have witnessed crimes like homicides, suicides, kidnappings, drugs in the home, domestic violence, things like that.
Okay.
So that's our main purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess after that would be that we coordinate what's called the Child Protection Team, and that's a multidisciplinary team approach to child abuse investigation. So we collaborate. It's the Children's Advocacy Center, the law enforcement, all branches from local law enforcement to the FBI and the Texas Rangers, and even ICE and Homeland Security. The district attorney's offices in this South Plains area, which is 15 counties, CPS investigators, the medical personnel, which includes sexual assault nurse examiners and pediatricians who might see children who've been abused, or even the emergency room physicians, and also Lubbock Rape Crisis Center, and then also our mental health people, the therapists that we work with. And what this does is that we hope to get each child's story in their own words about what has happened to them, and that hopefully they only will have to tell that story one time. Okay, we do the forensic interviewing. Then we also have a family advocate who will, if the family needs referrals to other social services, she'll take care of that. She'll help them to fill out crime victims' compensation paperwork. She will talk to them about the importance of therapy and make a therapy referral. We offer therapy here for the abused children and their non-offending caregivers. We coordinate that multidisciplinary team to work together until each case is resolved. And then we do a lot of community education from children as young as 4 years old through the adults. For children, we have a couple of programs. One is an anti-victimization program for 4-year-olds through 5th graders, and it's called the Yellow Dino program. And so we teach them safety rules. Our other program is for teenagers. It's Not Just Jenna. And then, well, there's physical abuse, there's emotional abuse, there's medical neglect, there's sexual abuse. And so for physical abuse, it includes placing a child in danger. For instance, driving drunk while your children are in the car. That's considered child abuse. Probably the most difficult one to prove, at least for CPS investigators, is the emotional abuse, because a lot of times that's mostly the child's word against the parent or the caregiver's word. The legislators prioritize what they think is the most important. And sadly, sometimes those with the least voice, the children, those programs end up being cut. I know that our agency has already seen several cuts in funding that we would normally use to pay our staff and materials for our prevention and education programs. I used to have a full-time staff and a 30-hour-a-week staff to work those programs, and because of one cut, when my full-time person left, I couldn't replace. I moved my part-time person to full-time, but I didn't have enough in the budget to hire another part-time person. So where 2 years ago we were doing, there was over 5,000 children going through our prevention education programs. This year we had a little over 3,000. So that was a significant number of children who did not have access to that prevention and anti-victimization program. So if I think of all of that together, what we've lost, probably in this year and the past couple of years, it's probably about $85,000 in grant funding. One of the steps that we've taken is trying to increase our community support. Some more outreach, more better fundraising events where hopefully the community can come, and come forth and support some of our efforts and hopefully make up some of that funding. And so those are the steps that we've taken.
Okay.
The other thing is that we are on call basically 24/7 for law enforcement and CPS investigating. The services that we offer are crucial. It's important to be able to interview those children as soon as possible as something has happened, so that it's fresh on their mind and we get their story about what happened.
Okay.
I think probably the best steps that can be taken is that people need to speak up and report child abuse. That's the number one thing that I think would help with this situation. I will tell you is our statistics show that 99% of the perpetrators that the children that come through here name are someone that child and that family knows, loves, and trusts. It's rarely 1% where it's a stranger or someone that was unknown to that child. And I think, too, one of the things that it does is we want to empower children, and so our education programs for the children that we serve is so important for the children to know that they need to know what's not acceptable behavior from an adult. They need to know that they can say no to an adult, and they need to know that if something is happening to them, that it's very important for them to tell. And so all of us value our education program for our kids. It really makes it difficult to trust most people. I think the toughest part of this job is hearing firsthand from a child the horrible things that an adult can do to them. That's the most heart-wrenching part of this work. When a case goes to trial and we get a conviction where someone who has been perpetrating sexual abuse on children is put away for a long, long time, to us that signifies that child saw justice, that someone believed that child and ensured that justice was served. By the same token, when we see that my staff, law enforcement, CPS, the medical people have all put all this work into a case, and then it goes to trial and we don't get a conviction, that's really tough too.